Welcome to Supply Chain Talks. My name is Christian Kars Mortensen. I'm a Senior Director, Global Partnership and Alliances at Project 44, and today I'm also your host for Supply Chain Talks. Project 44 has hand-curated a strong partner network to extend and enable the best possible customer experience. During 2021, we welcome you to our partner series, Supply Chain Talks. These conversations touch on current developments in global supply chain and the world of logistics. And today we happily welcome Mr. Claus Imping, CEO, MSE Solutions. Claus, I'm honored to have you join.
My pleasure, Christian, being here. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate the opportunity to share my perspective with you and with the supply chain community. Thank you.
Thank you, Claus. You know, you have worked for MSE Solutions for more than 25 years and have during this time worked on countless international supply chain management projects. Can you share more on what you and MSE Solutions do, who you work with, and actually how do you find your own blue ocean in this crowded space?
Yeah, more than welcome to do so. So we define our domain as digital supply chain management end-to-end. Our service promise is to make processes, our customers' processes, end-to-end, cross-silo, faster, more agile, and more efficient by means of digitalization. So we offer a quite comprehensive spectrum of services and products that range from consulting to integration and products. And those products are either partnered, like Project 44 and others, or proprietary products in order to build a very comprehensive suite that allows the fulfillment of our service offering. Our differentiation, our uniqueness in the crowded space, as you say correctly, is based on three pillars. Pillar number one is process first. We are not just a system vendor. We are our domain, our ambition is to optimize processes. So we are strict process thinkers, and process centricity is something that puts us ahead of or differentiates us from others. Number two is, if we say processes, we mean true end-to-end processes. There's almost no one in the supply chain community who does not claim to be end-to-end, but it's typically end-to-end within a function. It's end-to-end planning, it's end-to-end transportation, it's end-to-end this and that. The true end-to-end process is much broader and typically goes across those silos. So true end-to-end process thinking is number two. And number three is the importance of end-to-end data. Again, there's no one in the supply chain community who does not claim their database or their underpinning whatsoever data model to be a digital supply chain twin. That's bullshit. Most of those ones who claim to have a digital supply chain twin are just naming their purpose-specific database a digital supply chain twin. We do have a true digital supply chain twin, which is purpose agnostic. Of course, it's supply chain purposes, but it's target system agnostic. So it's really one representation of an entire supply chain. And these are the three pillars that set us apart.
Thanks. Claus, during summer, I had this distinct pleasure of visiting you in Unterammergau in Bavaria, Germany, which is really a wonderful place for inspiring thoughts. And you was a gracious host, but during our meeting, you shared your thoughts and ideas on this digital end-to-end nerve center. And it was really fascinating for me. Maybe you could share more on this.
Oh yeah, my pleasure to do so. So the digital nerve center is basically following the idea to close the gap from detection to action. Your services, for example, at Project 44 is helping to detect problems, to anticipate problems, disruptions in the supply chain. But this is a good trigger, but it's not yet the purpose. It's not yet the end of the story. So there's something in between. We think that the important goals of like agility, like resiliency, like demonstrated performance on the interface to the customer need more than just visibility. Information like like my container is 15 days late, are important triggers, but they need a well-orchestrated subsequent process that does the assessment of impacts, that drives the decision-making process of where do I need to counteract. And it needs to put this into a purposeful action that also comes to execution. So this is a kind of closed loop concept. And there's of course a similarity to the human nerve center or nerve system, because our nerve system constantly receives signals from the outside, digests those signals in reaction and rebalancing of things. But the nerve center itself is not the muscles or the extremities or the organs, it just activates things. And this is what we think is a missing link in many organizations, this process from detection to action. This is a cross-siloed process that needs a lot of orchestration, many players, typically many systems. And this is where our approach of the digital nerve center is focused on.
Let us dig a little bit deeper, Klaus. Let's look at the entire value chain, from assessing impact on the physical supply chain to the full end-to-end process orchestration. What are the value drivers for companies to do this?
So to put it in simple words, there are two value drivers. On the one hand, it's cost. On the other hand, it's customer experience. On the cost side of the equation, we typically have costs like penalties, expediting costs, firefighting costs, disruption of production, of ongoing production. Last but not least, all the efforts that go along with firefighting. Typically, there are armies of people who are doing kind of firefighting, which typically starts with gathering data, putting data together in order to assess the problem and then to start working against it. So these are all cost elements that are in the sense of lean management waste, because they are not value driving. On the other hand, it's customer experience, because reliability, proactively informing my customer, hey, I got to know that a container is 15 days late, and this may have an impact onto your order. What can we do to help you? You have ordered 20 pieces, 20 each. Do you need them all at once, or can we split it? That type of thing. And this behavior on the interface to the customer is improving trust. It allows your customer to reduce distrust buffers, like lead times, like inventories, all these things that are typically built on those interfaces. And it also enables or increases customer retention. The saying, you work with whom you trust. If you build trust, your customer is most probably a very long-term customer, because he has built, he knows you as a reliable supplier. And this is crucially important. And this is, I think, a true value add that is, of course, is quite difficult to convert into a kind of ROI. You somehow have to believe in it. But it's definitely, I think, one aspect that gets more and more importance in terms of differentiation of market and competitive differentiation, and that is that climbs up the agendas and priorities in most corporations.
Klaus, how could companies then utilize this digital end-to-end nerve center concept to drive growth and use it as a really powerful competitive advantage?
So first of all, the maturity that we typically see is a bit different from industry to industry. There are industries that are more mature or more advanced in terms of this response service and this proactive management of things, and others that are still kind of used to a very, let's say, poor service understanding, and where this aspect has not yet led to a market differentiation in the field of those competitors. I recently had a discussion with a company exactly on this topic, and they said, you know what, my competitors are not better in this respect. So this is not yet urgent for me. But this is exactly the point, because for sure, we are going to see the same kind of standard, the same, let's say, level of service orientation that we all got used to in our B2C environment by services like Amazon, where the knowledge of where's my product is just one click away. And this is going to set the standards also for the business to business area. And the question is not whether companies are going to adapt to this or not, but just the question when they are going to adapt. There are early adapters, and for them, it's going to be a game changer. It's going to be a disruptive game changer. And for sure, the laggards in this story, in this aspect, will not survive this tectonic shift that is going to happen there. And so the important thing is the earlier you adapt this, the earlier you learn to use those mechanisms in order to really improve your supply chain and make it really proactive, the more this is going to be a disruptive competitive differentiator for you. So customer and service orientation is key, and it can't be made sustainable in an efficient way without a highly digitalized and very professionally organized response process. This response process is leaning to Gartner's core: configure, optimize, respond, execution, visibility. Services like yours are basically on the execution, visibility, and the optimize is predominantly the SNOP. But the piece in between, the response process, the SNOE process, this is typically not yet well organized in most corporations, and this is where the rubber hits the road. This is where companies can definitely make a competitive advantage.
Klaus, I was wondering, how have you seen supply chains and logistics develop, change over the last 25 years? What has changed and what has not changed?
Okay, so you said 25 years.
Maybe more.
2021 minus, no, maybe 20, that's good. I think 2021 minus 25 says we are in the mid-90s. So if we all remember, in the mid-90s, we just have the wave of business process re-engineering behind us. Business process re-engineering was the big buzzword in the first half of the 90s. What has changed since then? Technology, of course. Technology has not only improved but reinvented itself many times since then. There's an incredible increase of power and ability that also became affordable. Things that we can afford right now were not affordable 10 years ago. Machines that are used for optimization today, as a matter of course, were not affordable 10 or 20 years ago. So the enablement for process improvement through technology has been huge. What has not changed, from my perspective, and I can definitely cover those 25 years and even a bit more with personal experience, so I know what I'm talking about, is silo thinking. Thinking and optimizing in functional silos has not yet changed. And end-to-end digitalization is definitely needs questioning this silo thinking. But this silo thinking sits very, very deep. It's paradigmatic for many corporations, and this means that digitalization, end-to-end digitalization, is not just throwing technology at a process. If you throw good technology at a crappy process, you still have a crappy process afterwards. So it needs more than technology. Technology, process, people, organization, roles and responsibility. This whole thing change if you really want to go end to end. And this is something that hasn't changed over the last 25 years, but that has to change for those ones who really want to take this disruptive advantage. And another aspect that hasn't really changed is, let's say, the quality status of data. independent, what process and what type of company, fully SAP integrated or not, there are slight qualitative differences. But in most of the companies, we are running into concerns. Yes, we would like to go end to end. We would like to go integrated, but we are not trusting our data. We are not trusting the quality of our data, and this is still something that unfortunately has not yet drastically changed.
Klaus, let me build on that. So my last question, and I could be very wrong, but sometimes it could look that companies have invested a lot in various systems, yet there are really disconnects in the daily process flow. It's frustrating. There's still a lot of Excel, firefighting, manual work, tribal knowledge. Why is it so hard to remove manual work and excel in this, say, modern, high-tech, and as you said, data-driven world?
Yeah. So I fully agree. I fully agree, and this is exactly what we are also seeing in many corporations. So many corporations are improving on their, let's say, maturity and sophistication within functions, but we see excel between functions and seldomly within functions. So the paradigm to think in silos does not only apply to corporations, it also applies to systems and to system vendors in the space of supply chain management. This is at least our perspective to it. The digital transformation, the digital integration, as well as the process integration typically stops at those cross-silo points. When a process goes cross-silo, it typically also goes cross-system and cross-data or database, and there the integration stops. This is where we see those breakpoints. This is where we see Excel sheets and all these usual symptoms. We as MSE Solutions, our products are different in this respect, since we focus on the horizontal integration following the process. So this is definitely outside the box, but I think history has proven that it's also always outside the box thinking that brings innovation.
Thank you, Klaus, for being a great partner to Project 44 and also for joining us today for Supply Chain Talks. And I can tell you, I'm already looking forward to my next visit to see you and to go to Unterammergau.
Oh, you're more than welcome to meet there again. Thanks for having me today. Thanks for having the opportunity to sharing my thoughts, and I'm always open for feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Klaus.